Hello, and welcome to this week's Strategy of the Week. My name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest, and I'm glad to be bringing you guys this special presentation titled Preparing for the Opportunities Ahead. Here at VectorVest, we believe that market direction is the single most important factor that you need to be aware of, and over the last 35 plus years that VectorVest has been around, we have identified some key elements of our market timing systems that indicate when the markets are looking for a bottom and looking for a top. So tonight, I want to cover all the things that you need to be aware of so that way you don't miss out on some great money-making opportunities that could potentially lie ahead. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right into the VectorVest 7 software. The VectorVest 7 homepage reads just like the front of a local newspaper where market timing is our headline story. At the very top, we have the market timing gauge, which tells us whether it's okay to buy or whether it's not okay to buy. As we know, the market timing gauge gets its colors from the top row of lights in our color guard. And while the color guard can tell us a lot of information, it can also give us insights on when the market may be starting to look for a bottom or when the market may be starting to look for a top. Starting off with the buy to sell ratio, which shows the number of buy rated stocks compared to the number of sell rated stocks, this indicator gives us insight into the overall health of the market. But it can do more than just that as well. The buy to sell ratio can also show us when the markets are looking grossly oversold. Historically, when the buy to sell ratio reaches a level of 0.2 or below, that shows that the markets are in that oversold territory. And then the next indicator, the MTI, which goes with the old saying here at VectorVest of keep your eye on the MTI. Now the MTI is looking at the underlying trend of the market and it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2. When it's above 1, the underlying trend of the market is up, and below 1, the underlying trend of the market is down. Well, historically, when the MTI reaches a level of 0.6 or below, that shows that the market is starting to look for a bottom and may be getting ready to rally. And just the inverse, when the MTI reaches a level of 1.6 or higher, historically that shows that the market is starting to look for a top. As you can see, as of today, the buy to sell ratio is in that oversold territory and the MTI is well below that 0.6 threshold, so therefore that tells us that the market is starting to look for a bottom. Just because we have reached these levels does not mean it's time to go ahead and start jumping back into the market, however. We want to see signs that the market is reversing course and starting to move higher, confirming that the bottom is in. As always, to stay up to date with this on a nightly basis, make sure to watch the daily color guard report found right here on the homepage in the strategy section. Every single night we'll cover what's going on in the market today, what to expect for tomorrow, what news you need to be aware of, and how to prepare yourself for the next trading day. In essence, in watching this short video, we'll make sure that you never get caught off guard by any major changes going on in the market. Some other key critical pieces of information that can help us identify when the market is starting to look for a bottom can be found in the views as well. So we highly recommend spending a few moments every single night to take a look at the views for those key pieces that can tell us when the market may be starting to turn around. As always, this is also covered in the daily color guard report. To get to the views, you click on the views tab at the top, and the VectorVest Views is our nightly newsletter designed to keep investors informed on what's going on in the markets. Once we get into the views here, we'll simply scroll down to take a look at both the 1 and 5-day Derby winners. Now, if you're not familiar with the Derby, it is a tool that we have here at VectorVest that analyzes all 250 plus searches in the Unisearch tool that are pre-built and tells us which ones are the best performers on both a 1 and 5-day basis. As you can see right now, we still see bearish searches coming in both the 1 and 5-day Derby winners here. But when you start seeing bullish bottom fishing searches coming into the 1-day Derby winners, that is an early warning sign that the markets may be starting to reverse course and move higher again. And now with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the buy to sell ratio and the MTI with the market timing graph and get a visual representation of this. So we'll click on the graphs tab at the top, click on the word stock in the upper left, and select market timing. And I've opened our market timing graph to the default layout, which shows the prices of VectorVest composite and candlesticks, below there we have the MTI, the BSR, and the RT. For now, we'll remove the RT and just take a look at the price, MTI, and the buy to sell ratio. And as you can see here, I already have that level of 0.6 marked on my graph, indicating that historically oversold territory on the MTI. And now I want to add the same type of indication that we see with the MTI on the buy to sell ratio. So I'll come to the top of the program and click on the drop down menu next to freehand line and select horizontal line and place it at that 0.2 threshold. And I'll zoom in to a 6-month time frame to see this a little bit more clearly here. And then take off the horizontal line once again and add on the crosshair cursor so that way we can see visually where we're looking at. So as we know, over the course of 2022, the markets have been moving lower overall. While we did have a rally coming into the middle of the summer, that was short-lived, and if we look at where the MTI was, it reached just above that level of 1.6, indicating the market was looking for a top. But today, we're looking for opportunities ahead for a potential rebound in the future. So, to take a look at the markets when they were steadily landsliding from March all the way up until June, we can see the MTI got well below that 0.6 threshold, and the buy to sell ratio also fell below that 0.2 level that indicates oversold territory. Now we did see a little bit of a rise here for a brief period before we hit the official low, but then from that point, the markets rallied throughout the middle of summer. Now one of the earliest market timing signals that you'll see change that gives us an indication that the market is starting to move higher is the green lights coming after a confirmed down situation, especially when we have the MTI and the buy to sell ratio in those oversold territories. So we'll go ahead and add on the green light buyer by choosing it from the bottom left hand corner. And while the green light buyer is a historically accurate and more aggressive timing system, one way to help filter out some of the noise is by using the RT Kicker combo timing signals. That uses a 10 and a 15-day moving average of RT to enhance the red and green lights we get in the price column of the color guard on the home page. In essence, it's making sure that short-term momentum is in favor of those lights. So to see that, we'll go to the bottom left and change it from the green light buyer to the new RT Kicker combo timing signals. And as you can see, we have removed a lot of the noise from the bottoms and also added these down signals as well. So the RT Kicker combo timing signals can not only give us up signals, but also down signals to play the market to the downside. But today, once again, we're focusing on what to look for to know that the market is starting to move higher again. And as you can see back here, we had that first green light on the 25th of May, and then we got follow through the next day. Here we had another green light, but the market was moving lower the next day. And once again here, the market tried to rally, but the move lower not getting follow through. Now, VectorVest provides analysis and tools for all styles of investors. So therefore, if you're an aggressive investor, you may not be looking for follow through, and you may be willing to take the added risk of jumping on board the first thing the next day. If you're more prudent to conservative, we highly recommend that you wait for follow through coming the next day. Typically what you'd want to see is that the major indices are up 30 minutes to an hour after the market opens before placing your trades. That way you get confirmation that it's not just a one-day trend. Because as we say here at VectorVest, one day doesn't make a trend. One more aspect that you need to be aware of is in a down market, these uptrends may be short-lived. But that doesn't mean that there isn't good money-making opportunities to be had. With the power of VectorVest and the power of our market timing systems, you can greatly increase your performance, especially when you consider the unique features that we have here that nowhere else can provide of bottom fishing. Bottom fishing is an art that we have mastered here at VectorVest, where we identify the stocks that have been beaten down the most in a down market on the expectations that they rebound the sharpest since they're most oversold to begin with. Historically, those have provided our subscribers great results over the years. And with the VectorVest bottom fishing, we have lots of different selections for you to choose depending on your own personal risk tolerance. But for now, let's take a look at some key dates And we'll keep these in mind to see how some bottom fishing searches have performed in this current environment. So here we had once again the green light buyer with the RT kicker combo timing signal. We also got follow through the next day, so 525 would be a great entry point. Going here, we had an update on the 7th, but never got follow through. Here on the 21st, we got an update, but no follow through. And here on the 27th, we got an update and did finally get follow through. So therefore, we'll take a look at some bottom fishing searches and see how they performed from once again the 25th of May, also the 27th of July. And since these are more aggressive, one of the key things to keep an eye on is when the market is starting to reverse course. One of the earlier timing signals that VectorVest provides is our primary wave. Our primary wave is the short-term or simply weekly trend of the market, and it's looking at the price of the VectorVest composite and comparing it to the prior week earlier. When we take a look at the primary wave on the market timing graph, we can see the first primary wave down we got after the 25th of May when we got that green light buyer with the RT kicker confirmation was on the 6th of June. And the primary wave down that we got after the 27th of July came here on the 19th of August. So as you can see, very short time frames, but now let's go jump into the Unisearch and take a look at how our bottom fishing searches performed during these time frames. So we'll click on the Unisearch tab at the top. And over on the left-hand side, we have them categorized into different folders. And as you can see here, we have a whole folder titled Searches Bottom Fishing. Now here you will find all of our bottom fishing scans, but what we're going to take a look at is one of the most popular ones with the S&P 500 divided by RT, and also going back to the views and utilizing the views to find which bottom fishing searches were performing the best during those current time frames. So let's go ahead, jump into the views first and foremost, and click on the date box in the upper left. And we'll change the date back to our first original date of May 25th. And say OK. And looking at the views. And now let's go ahead and cover all the signs that we had that the market was starting to reverse course. So 1, we had that green light with follow through. 2, we had the top one-day derby performers showing up as bottom fishing searches. And 3, we were coming out of that oversold territory based on the MTI and the buy to sell ratio. So let's go ahead and take a look at the VST Mighty Mites, Pirates Long, and the S&P 400 Midcap divided by RT. So we'll go back into the Unisearch tool, change our date in the upper left to May 25th. Say OK. And starting off, taking a look at the S&P 400 Midcap divided by RT. Now, before we take a look at the results, we want to make sure that you're comfortable with understanding what the parameters of this search are telling us, because these are the key crucial parts that make bottom fishing so powerful. So first and foremost, we are starting off with the watch list of the S&P 400 midcap stocks. Their price has to be greater than $1, have 100,000 or greater 50-day moving average of volume, no contra ETFs, no penny stocks or pink sheets, and once again, no contra ETFs or contra ETFs. And the main power of bottom fishing comes from the sort. The sort, as we can see in the upper left, is RT ascending. So once again, it's looking for the stocks with the strongest declines when the market's at the bottom. The stocks that have been oversold the most are going to be the ones that have the strongest. The ones that are oversold the most are going to have the weakest RTs, so therefore they'll come to the top. So taking a look at the top performers at that time, we had Apps, TNDM, Wingstop, and a few others here. If we go ahead and quick test all from the upper right hand corner, we can see even if you held them to this point, you're still overall net positive, up 2%, while the S&P is down 8.7%. But once again, we had that primary wave down, which gave us that early warning sign to start exiting our bottom fishing campaigns on the 6th of June. So if we go ahead and change that date here, go back to June 6th, say OK, and then rerun the test, we can see we had 8 out of 10 winners, only 2 losers, with an average gain of 6.33%. Annualized out, that's over 190% a year. If we get out of here, taking a look at some of the others, such as Pirates Long, so we'll go ahead and run this scan. And this one, as you can see, looking at the sort, is RV divided by RT. Whenever you see this division symbol, that just tells us we're looking for the higher number on the left and the lower number on the right. So stocks with the highest long-term potential with the lowest RT currently. Also, this one is looking for stocks that have a price greater than $5. So let's go ahead and quick test these. And looking through that same time frame, as we can see, we had 6 winners, 4 losers. And overall, we had a total gain of 5.45%, annualized out to 166% for the year. Over that same time frame, the S&P 500 only did 3.63%, so clearly you're outperforming the S&P 500. And then the last bottom fishing search we wanted to take a look at for the Derby winners was the VST Mighty Mites. So we'll go ahead, double click it and run the scan, and then go ahead and quick test these. And looking at it, we had 6 winners, 4 losers, still had a gain of 1.14% overall, underperforming the S&P 500 over that time frame. But as our founder, Dr. DeLito, says, you can never go broke taking profits. And now those were the ones that the Derby gave us that were performing the best during the current market environment. But what about our most popular one with the S&P 500 divided by RT? Now this one is suitable for more prudent to conservative investors because you're dealing with the best 500 stocks in the US market. So let's go ahead and take a look at how these performed over that same time frame. And looking at it, we had 10 out of 10 winners with an average gain of 11.4%, annualized out to almost 350% a year, grossly outperforming the S&P 500 as well. So this is the power of bottom fishing, where we can see how fast it can add some quick gains to our portfolio in very short periods of time. And just as a reminder, as I stated earlier in this presentation, we're not saying that the market is getting ready to rally to new highs, but even in a short blast off when the markets are grossly overextended to the downside, there can still be some great money-making opportunities for you that lie ahead. So if we get out of here, let's take a look at our next time frame that we talked about earlier, the July 27th Greenlight Buyer. So we'll go to the views and see what the views were telling us that night. We'll change the date to July 27th. And say OK. And looking at it, we had a few bottom fishing searches coming up with Jailbreak, No Contra ETFs, Jubilee, Jubilee 2, and Bottoms Up. So let's go see how those scans did over that time frame. So we'll jump into the Unisearch tool. And starting off with Jailbreak, No Contra ETFs. But before I go ahead and run the scan, I want to make sure I change my date to the appropriate time of July 27th. And say OK. And as you can see with this one, we're looking for the highest VST stocks with the lowest RT at the time that have to be greater than $1, 100,000 average volume. And this one, they have to be on major optionable exchanges. So we'll go ahead and run the scan here and go ahead and do the quick test once again to get a quick performance. And also the quick test feature for anybody new to VectorVest is a basic performance test from point A to point B. So it can give you some great information very quickly. So let's go ahead and quick test the top 10 here. And then change our dates. And we had that primary wave down come back on August 19th. And if you want to verify that, you can use the quick date feature here on the right. Change it to primary wave. And here you see the 819 primary wave down situation that we were just referring to. So now we'll go ahead and say OK and rerun the test. So looking at jailbreak, we had 5 winners, 4 losers, 1 stock breaking even, a 50% win rate, and did make 0.5%. Once again, not outperforming the market, but still positive nonetheless. Let's go take a look at some of our other performers though. So we'll get out of here, take a look at bottoms up, which is once again using the sort VST divided by RT. So therefore the highest VST with the lowest RT. And it's coming from stocks with inside the industry group of the bottom 30 by RT. So we'll go ahead and quick test those. And looking at it, we had 9 out of 10 winners, 1 loser, with an average gain of 27.9%, while the S&P was up only 5.26% during that same time frame. So clearly outperforming the market by almost a factor of 5. And now, while you may not see Jubilee and Jubilee 2 in here, those are found in Search as Speculative. So we'll go ahead and open up the Search as Speculative folder. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at Jubilee, which is using a unique sort of RV divided by RT divided by actual price. And then we're looking for stock volume, shares traded for the day, greater than or equal to the stock's average volume. And then RV plus RS greater than or equal to 2. Stocks have to be greater than $3, and the RV has to be greater than 1.2. So let's go ahead and quick test these. As we can see, 8 out of 10 winners, 80% win rate with an average gain of 4.43%. Still making money over that time frame. Taking a look at Jubilee 2, go ahead and quick test these. 7 out of 10 winners with an average gain of 4.3% over that time frame. Adding those quick gains to our portfolio so that way we can increase our gains over the long term. And then last but not least, let's go ahead and revisit our old favorite S&P 500 divided by RT and see how that performed over that time frame. Looking at it here, we had 8 out of 10 winners with an average gain of 5.34%, outpacing the S&P 500 index. And so once again, to recap what we've covered here tonight, things to look for going forward to help make sure you're prepared for when the bottom is in is the buy to sell ratio being less than 0.2, the MTI being less than 0.6, wait to see bottom fishing searches showing up in the one-day derby winners, make sure to tune in to the daily color guard report on a nightly basis, keep an eye out for the green lights appearing in the price column of the color guard, and as a pro tip for prudent to conservative investors who want to take advantage of bottom fishing, make sure to wait for follow through the next day. Once again, it has been my pleasure being with you here, and if you have any questions on what we have covered in tonight's special presentation, please don't hesitate to give our support a call.